Welcome to the Women's Hoop Show. It's been a while. We missed you. Hope you missed us. We are back today, and we have a loaded show for you. First up, we're breaking down the latest on the CBA negotiations, salary jumps, revenue share fights, the housing controversy, and what an earlier season could mean for the players. Then, Project B gets all the spotlight. The Global League signing major WNBA talent, the money, the equity, the questions around sustainability, and why Caitlin Clark said no to joining. Lastly, we'll hit the news roundup. We'll see what we get to, but Dallas won the lottery again. The Liberty hired a 4-time NBA champion, Chris DeMarco, as their head coach. And USA dropped a star-studded training camp roster featuring Clark, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, and so many more first-timers. A lot to talk about. Let's get into it. Sheryl Swoopes, hi.
Hi, boo. How are you?
I'm doing all right. And basketball has been basketballing. This does not feel like a typical off season, which we knew it wasn't going to be, but it feels like daily, almost hourly, there are updates around the WNBA season. And frankly, Sheryl, if we're going to have a 2026 WNBA season, there's some question marks surrounding if we're going to have a season.
Listen,
Woo!
I personally have taken a break from social media because it's too much.
It's a lot.
Someone asked me the other day, they were like, do you think we're going to have a season? And me being me, right? And I'm like, of course we're going to have a season. They're like, will it start on time? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm saying we're going to have a season. But then as the news continues to go and we continue to hear stuff about CBA, about Project B, I'm like, damn, I don't know. Jordan, I just don't know anymore.
Well, let me say this. I'm hopeful. I am hopeful that
Yes.
both sides don't want to lock out. I know that for a fact. That will hurt everything. There are so many advertisers that are like, "Hey, we're holding our money until we know that there's a 2026 season." So the league is like, "We need to be able to say that there's a season so we can collect that check." Then players, they don't want to lock out. They want to be able to play basketball. They want to be able to sign in free agency. They want to be able to go about their normal offseason. So I'm hopeful that there can be a resolution. But right now in December, the fact that we don't know and we have question marks is a huge red flag.
Listen, at some point, they're not going to continue to do extension after extension after extension on the CBA negotiations. It's like, okay, we got another, what was it, 30-day extension. And listen, something got to give.
Something has to give.
Yeah. So
Let's talk
I'm hopeful also, but I don't know anymore. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? But I get it from a player's perspective. Like, yeah, I get it.
There are things that the players are just not willing to move on. And I totally respect that. That's just where we are in this league, and with the revenue sharing specifically, which I don't feel like we've heard much about, which means that that is still something they need to discuss. Here's what we do know. As of we're recording this Monday, December 8th, something could come out in the next couple days that could totally dismantle this. But this is what we know today, that the new deadline is January 9th. So that is the next wave. Now, if you think 30 days beyond that, we start getting into February, we start getting into March, we still need an expansion draft with 2 teams. We still need free agency, which has typically started February 1st. We still need teams to be able to scout on college players, to be able to get ready for the draft. Like, there's so many things that need to happen after the CBA. So keep that in mind. That's why it's alarming that the extension keeps going back more and more. Right now, with salary, the league has proposed a supermax salary of $1 million. First of all, happy to get into the mills. That's a positive.
Facts.
It was 249,000.
It was a
Huge bump
it was a
there.
disgrace. But go ahead.
Disgraceful. Now we're saying that Supermax is going to be pretty much the rookie contract at about 225. That's going to be the minimum salary. Average is going to be around 500,000. This is what they're saying. The salary cap for a team bumps up from 1.5 million to 5 million. That was a
Ugh.
huge thing, is that the salary cap was too low. We're not able to sign players, and that's why it was hardship after hardship after hardship, because they were already reaching their salary max. So, pausing there, how do you feel about those numbers? And I think a lot of people might say, well, that's a huge increase. Players should be happy, right?
Well, here's the thing. So for a lot of people though, what they hear or what they see is like the dollar amount, like the number, right? And don't get me wrong, for a rookie specifically to go from whatever the minimum salary currently is, which is what?
66,000.
Yeah, I was going to say 55, 60, 66,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's shameful. And just so people who may not know, it's always been that way. Matter of fact, it was less than that. When I
Mm-hmm.
played, the rookie salary was less than that.
Mm-hmm.
So, for a rookie to go from 66,000 to 200,000,
Mm-hmm.
that's a significant increase. So, yay, happy for that. Happy for the salary cap. Happy for all those things. Here's my thing. At least I think it's not just about the dollar amount, right? Like what the players will make up front
Mm-hmm.
per se.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also about the long term. Like what are the players going to get long term? It's great to say right now your pay is going to go from 66,000 to 200, and vets, the max salary, you're now talking about millions, which yes, it needs to be that.
Yeah.
But it's bigger than a paycheck. And I think that's where people don't really understand why the players are like, we're not budging on certain things. And
Mm-hmm.
one of them that I think about is like the revenue share.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? And that to me is, yeah, when we play, girl, ain't nobody, we want to talk about no revenue share and all that. We were just like, toss the ball up, let's go, let's play. Um, but that's important when you think about how much the game has grown, continues to grow every single day. To me, the revenue share is almost more important than the salary.
Oh, yeah. Well, because it speaks to the league's growth. And
Yes.
this is what I always say, the league is growing because of the players, because of the basketball
Yes.
that's on the court. And so the players are saying, yeah, hey, that's us. We deserve a cut of that. So as you are signing multi-million-dollar media deals, and
Mhm.
you are
Mhm.
selling these ad packages and selling our jerseys to these sold out arenas, we deserve a cut of that. And like Kelsey Plum came out and said, we can't move forward until revenue share is addressed, because that is the thing. And the league is what they're trying to do is say, okay, we won't give you more revenue share right now, but like in 2027, we can start
Mm-mm.
increasing, and it can
Mm-mm.
slowly increase. And the players are like, no, they want
Pump your brakes.
meaningful, yeah, we want meaningful revenue share tied to all the league and all team revenue. They're asking for 30%. The league is currently offering 15%. They currently have 9%. So they are wanting a huge increase there, and that is a huge point here. And they deserve it. Let me just say that. They deserve it. And I think that we are going to keep going back and forth
Mhm.
unless
Mhm.
we come to some agreement here. This is the catalyst. But what I also want to talk about is the other things the league has kind of thrown back at the players. And I feel like this is ruffling some feathers, Sheryl, that they're like, okay, yeah, we'll give you your million, but we want the season to start in mid-March. And if you don't show up with
Mhm.
an excused absence, then we're going to start reducing your salary. So yeah, we'll give you more, but if you're not there, we're going to start dollar by dollar, day by day. We're going to start pulling it back. And then also, that housing that we pay for, we're
Uh-huh.
going to take that as well. We're
Mhm.
going to make it more professional league like the NBA and the NFL. They don't pay for housing. We're going to take that away. And that has not done well. What are your thoughts around those asterisks that the league has thrown
Girl,
in?
a lot. A lot. Okay, so here's my first question.
Mhm.
So to the league is pushing to start the season in or training camp or season in March.
They're saying it says season, but I believe it would be training camp. Yeah, it would be training camp, which you still have college players. I don't even
So
know how
that,
that's
that that that's where I'm going first, right? You got the final four
mm-hmm.
that finishes in March. The end of March, beginning of April?
Beginning of April is
Beginning
the
of
is
April.
the final
The
four,
final
is the
four.
national championship. Yeah.
So college players already don't have time to go from finishing up the final four to the draft to training camp. So they already don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
So make it make sense how the season or training camp, whatever it is, will start in March. Okay. Second question. So if you're a college player and you don't show up in March, I'm assuming that would be your excused absence.
Right. Yeah. Pretty good excuse.
Because other than that, it's like you're going to work or you're at school and you're sick and you go to the doctor, doctor writes your excuse so you can take it back to school the next day and get your homework, whatever. Girl, it's been so long since I've been in school. I don't even know if they still do those things. But my point is this, Jordan. What's considered an excused absence?
To me, that is only a college player and it cannot be Unrivaled or Project B. That's what I heard from that.
Here's what I feel. Because there's also stuff that I read, I don't know this, where someone said that the league, Kathy or the league, didn't want players playing in Unrivaled. I
Mm.
read that somewhere. So there's a part of me that feels like the league doesn't want players to do anything outside of playing in the W.
Yes. And here is where I get on my soapbox
Mhm.
because if you want that, that's fine. You
Mhm.
have to pay them
You have to
so that
compensate them for that.
you can't say we want you to come early, we want you to stay late because this is also what's a part of it. The season could go into November. So they want you to come early, stay late, but we're not going to give you enough to supplement what those other leagues would have given you. You can't
Mm-mm.
have both. You can't
No.
have both. So if
No.
you have to be okay being the professional, where everybody comes for the summer and this is what you pay them for the summer. But if you are wanting it to be a one and done thing for the top players, you have to pay them to make sure that that happens. And that's what's amiss here. You can't be like, yeah, don't do anything else. But yeah, we're not giving you more revenue share. What? Like, no,
Jordan,
that
that is so
can't,
dumb.
it
Like, it's just
can't.
dumb. So if I'm a player right now, some of the pushback, right? I read that, I hear that, I see that, and I'm like, have you lost your mind?
Yeah.
Because my thing is this, even with the salary cap jumping, or not the salary cap, from the minimum salary going from 66,000 to 225 for rookies, and then the average salary being 500K. There are players, not all, but there are players who can So we've talked about Unrivaled and Project B. We didn't talk about Athletes Unlimited. We didn't even talk about players playing overseas,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There are players that are making the majority of their income playing overseas, not in the W.
Mhm.
And they're they're treated a lot better playing overseas than they are in the W.
Yeah.
And so for you to ask players, listen, I know what you're doing. I know you're making all this money. I know you're living good, but need you to give that up because we want the season to start in March. And excuse me, I know we're going here next. And then you don't want to pay for housing anymore either.
Let's talk about that, please. Because first, I think there's some confusion around housing. And I want to, from what I've researched and from your experience too, I want to understand this better. With housing, which has come up as now a flashpoint issue, because players are saying, okay, you can't get rid of this because again, you are a summer. This is a professional league, but it's just in the summer. Why are you expecting us to have a year-long lease? We don't even know. We're not going to be here the full year. Like you said, we're going to go play overseas. We're going to go to Miami and play in Unrivaled. We're going to go all these other places. It is supposed to be this temporary housing to
Yes,
match with the season.
yes,
So if you take that away, which the league is saying they want it to be more like the NBA. First of all, the NBA goes from October, like is
don't
90%
make
of
that
the year.
comparison. Don't do that.
You
Don't
can't
do that.
compare it. You can't
Girl,
compare it. NFL, they are making so much money. Do not compare it to that. So I don't even know why they put themselves in the same sentence as those other leagues. That's not a comparison here. But the other big worry is that for these hardship players, these
mhm,
rookies who are
mhm,
coming on training camps, it says in the fine print that Alexa Philippou from ESPN reported that it is an expectation that the teams would be able to help in those situations where if it's a specific case, if someone gets waived or brought on halfway through the season, that maybe there is some temporary housing available for those type of players. But I still think if you're on a 200K salary that you're not going to get all at once, first of all, you could get waived and you don't get your full salary, that if you have to sign a lease or put roots down permanently in one of these cities, or even just have to deal with that, even have to find some place to live, that is so much extra that is
mhm.
unnecessary to me. It just doesn't feel like it needs to be a thing.
All right. So I think we can both agree that when you're negotiating, when you're in the middle of negotiations,
Mhm.
that means both sides have to be willing to give up something,
Mhm.
right? You're negotiating, which means either you're going to agree, you're not going to agree. The housing, I don't really see players agreeing to that
Mhm.
for all the reasons that you said. And unless things have changed. So I remember when I was playing, teams typically, not you can say the league or teams typically have some type of an agreement, a deal with an apartment complex.
Mhm.
Some might even be, I don't know, like hotels that have these extended stays, whatever it is. But teams typically have an agreement with them and say, we're going to house our team here for the summer, right?
Mhm.
And so that apartment complex is like, great. Okay, we'll do the deal with you because we know for at least 3, 4 months your players are going to be here. We're going to get paid. So we're not worried about having to lease these apartments to anybody.
Mhm.
The part that really confuses me is all those things you said, but then you say the NBA doesn't do it, NFL doesn't do it. Besides the fact that they make all this money, they can afford it. Here's here's the mom in me. None of those NBA guys or NFL guys are bringing their kids with them either.
Mhm.
where it's just dad taking care of the child.
Right.
Whereas the WNBA, a lot of these players are moms and they're bringing their child or children with them.
Mhm.
The last thing they want to be worried about or concerned with is a couple things. Well, I'm very concerned about my safety and making sure I'm in the right area, making sure I'm in a good place. And if you're saying players are now going to have to start paying for that, a lot of the players are going to be like, well, I can't afford to live near the facility where I'm close, it's safe, but it's going to cost me $3,500 a month versus I might be able to go find another place to stay that's only $1,000 a month for
Right.
4 months.
Right.
That's crazy to me. It's just
Mhm.
crazy. So then the other part you throw in there is if those players choose not to bring their car to market, now they're renting a car. So that's another expense on top of having to rent a car, having to pay your own rent. And now, if you're having to pay your own rent, does that mean you're also paying your electricity bill, your water bill, like all the
Mhm.
other things that come with that?
Mhm.
And I know Natasha Cloud said something about this just doesn't make sense, especially when you start looking at rookies who aren't making that much money. But also when you look at like this season, I take Indiana. I don't even remember how many different players Indiana had on their team this year
I
because of
know.
injury,
Yes.
right? So when you're bringing players in on a 10-day contract, and I know you said that Alexa said maybe teams there's an expectation that teams can cover that. Well, that's just an expectation. There's still no
Right.
guarantee that
Right.
teams are like, okay, well, or the league's going to say, well, when you're bringing in a player on a 10-day contract, the team or the league will cover that.
Mhm.
There are some things to me that are non-negotiable. And if I'm a
Mhm.
player, I don't care if I'm a rookie or if I'm a vet making the max, making millions. I'm like, this doesn't sit well with me. It
Mm-mm.
it doesn't. Jordan, first of all, the season's not long enough. To your point, I might say, okay, I get it. If we had a season like the NBA, right?
Mhm.
Where we're playing 80 some odd games and we're there for 8 months out of the year, but that's not the case.
Mhm.
So I don't even understand. It's almost like the league is saying, well, if you want more money, we're gonna give you more money, but
It
we're
has to
gonna
come out of this. Yeah. It has to come out of this. I I I think you put that perfectly. The other part of it is Indiana, like you mentioned, is very different from New York or the Bay
hello.
or Los
Yes.
Angeles. Like these are very, very different. There's also a
Yeah.
part of it that Alexa put in her article that I thought was really good is if maybe the wording changes. Maybe you say it's not required to provide housing. And then we turn this into a practice facility thing. Well, if you come to the Liberty, we'll pay for your housing.
Mm.
And now it becomes an incentive to sign with the team. But I think that's so ridiculous because
Oh
I
my
think it should
god.
be required. But that's where we start getting into the weeds of free agency. Okay, well, yeah, you can come and this will be your salary if you come to Dallas, but we'll pay for your room. We'll pay for you to stay. I also always go back to an article I read years ago about Diamond DeShields. And she said, I don't have permanent housing. Like I live in the WNBA housing during the season. Then I couch surf until I have to go overseas because then they provide
Yes.
housing over there. And then
Yes.
now it's like, okay, then I'm going to go play an Unrivaled. Then they provide housing there. Like you're not in one place if
No.
you are kind of in majority of the league. Yes, if you are the Asia Wilsons and the Breanna Stewarts and the Nafisa Colliers, if you're in the top of the top, yeah, you can put some roots
Listen.
down. But that's
Well,
so rare. It's a
Jordan,
handful.
there's a handful. Yes. I mean, Angel Reese, right?
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark. You
Yes.
guys, Angel Reese just bought her house in Chicago, but Angel Reese has the money to do that from endorsements,
From other
right?
things. Yeah. Yeah.
It just, but like you said, there's only a handful of players that can do that. So no, it doesn't really make sense. Here's the other thing. Just say you're a player. It doesn't even have to be a rookie. You're a player. Go to training camp, you make the team. You're having to pay for your apartment. Now, a lot of these places, and I get it, some people will work with you and they're like, okay, so we're going to do a short term lease
Mhm,
for, a lot of places will do 3, 6, well, I don't know, 3, 6, 12 months.
mhm.
Or you got to do your whole month to month thing. But what happens if you're in wherever you are, whatever team, whatever city, and they say, well, listen, we only do long term leases.
Yeah.
You're going to force me to do a year long lease when I'm probably only going to be here 4 months out of the year. God forbid, in my second month, I get cut. So if I break my lease,
Mm.
now that goes on my credit. I'm just there's so
There's so much. The
there-
fact I don't even want them to have to think about all these things.
but so there's
I
so
don't
much
even wanna
here
think
that
about
I
this.
don't even think the league they couldn't have thought all of this stuff out,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And I do believe so if you're single and don't have a child, they provide a one-bedroom apartment.
Mhm,
If you have a child, they provide a two-bedroom apartment.
mhm,
And that kind of goes back to what I said earlier. For a lot of these women who do have kids, right? If they're bringing their significant other, if they have a nanny, if grandma's coming,
mhm,
like there's so many things they have to take into consideration when looking for housing for themselves and their child and whoever else is going to be coming. And I read that and I was just like, there's no way.
There's
There's no way the league
there's
is trying to take the housing part away.
there's no way, and I also think, there's the last thing I'll say on this is there's also the stipends tier that is still happening now because, again, there are
Yeah.
players that say, "I don't wanna stay in team housing," and
Yes.
so they would take that stipend and they would go
Yeah.
find something better, bigger, wherever. And that stipend changed per city. I would love to see kind of the data. Like, is everyone just taking the stipend and they're paying, the teams are paying for these team housing and they're just going unused? That's a different conversation. If they feel like we're spending all this money, we're spending to clean it, to turn it over, like all the things they listed, and there's no one staying in them, all right, then let's talk. Maybe there's something there. But if I don't think that's the case,
Mm-mm.
and I think that the stipends are a little ridiculous, like it might be a quarter of your rent or maybe half in some of these places, but there's still all of the other logistics that
Yeah.
we just talked about that go into this decision making, because kind of a big deal where you live, where you lay your head at the end of the day. It's a very, very big deal. And so I'm with you. I don't think that that is something the players are going to move on. And I don't think that they should. And I also feel like it is very much the league saying, well, if you want more money, this is the thing that has
Yeah.
to be taken away from it. And I'm saying, you have more money, just give the more money. That's my thought process around this.
Yeah. Because this is something we could talk about forever and ever.
I
I
know.
just yeah. That one to me is like, is this really what we're doing? And to your point, I personally think there's probably a handful of players on each team that's not staying in the team provided housing,
Yeah.
right? There are probably a handful that was like, example, Asia Wilson is probably going to be in Vegas until she retires.
Mhm, mhm.
So
She has a
Asia
house.
Wilson has bought a house in Vegas and is like,
Mhm,
I need my own crib. And so I got it. But even in doing that, the stipend that she gets, I'm sure she's taken that plus some for her mortgage. Or
mhm.
I don't know what her mortgage is, but at least that what the league is providing is either paying for it or it's helping her pay for it, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And so now you're saying, well, nope, about to take that away from you too.
Okay. Well, that
Mm,
should be should
mm-mm.
be very interesting conversations regarding the CBA, but those are some huge points that stay glued to your phone to see how this all develops. Again, that new deadline is January 9th. We also have the holidays coming in, so there's some days away from negotiating, even in the last weeks of December. So crucial month to see if the Players Association and the league can come to some kind of compromise to make sure that we have a season. But again, like we said, we can talk about this forever. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about all things Project B, because I think this just threw another wrench in the CBA negotiations. So we'll be back. Welcome back to the Women's Hoop Show. We're here. We just talked about everything CBA. Sheryl's showing off her hoodie, which looks great, by the way.
And
Loving all of your merch. Everybody's sending me pictures of your merch. Also, thank you for tagging us in your Spotify Wrapped. That has been really fun to see everyone saying Women's Hoop Show is their favorite. So
Let's
thank you.
go.
Something that I don't know if it's my favorite or not. Project B. I have mixed feelings. What do you know, or do you just want me to kind of run through what we know so far about Project B, and then we can talk about it from there?
Yeah, I need you to run through it because I only know what I've read on social media.
Bits and pieces. It's
Yeah.
coming in.
So I don't
in
know a
bits and
whole
pieces.
lot. And
Okay.
so therefore, I'm not really sure how I feel.
Okay, great. Well,
I
let's
need
figure
more
it out
info.
together.
Okay.
Let's figure it out. So what we know is that Project B is a new global 5-on-5 women's league that's launching in November 2026 through April 2027. It'll be across Europe and Asia and maybe Latin America. It's global. It'll be 6 teams with 11 players on each team. So 66 total players. It's built in 7 2-week tournaments rather than a traditional schedule. So I listened to the great interview with Sarah Spain, her podcast, Good Game. She had Alana Beard on, who is the chief basketball officer, WNBA champion. You know Alana Beard.
Mhm.
And she talked about how it's like the F1 style, or she even pegged it to like tennis, professional tennis. So like the US Open and Wimbledon, you go to these places that are around the world. It's a tournament. They're there for a limited amount of time. And it is both men and women, because they are expecting to launch with both in next November. And you're gathering points throughout these tournaments, and then there will be a team winner at the end of the season. So that's kind of the structure of it. Okay. It's founded by tech execs, ex Facebook, ex Skype. These are founders in the tech space who are just using this and venture capital to build all this money, having this idea and trying to take it global. The players who are signing up, it's rumored that they are getting much bigger salaries. Some have reported up to $2 million. Alana Beard did not confirm or deny that. They also get equity in this league. So as the league grows, their pockets grow. And that's what we know. We also know that Nneka Ogwumike has signed up, Alyssa Thomas, Jonquel Jones, Jewel Lloyd, Camila Cardoso, Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham. A lot of names have come out recently that have attached their name to this, and they are expected to play. They are kind of rolling out names little by little to kind of build this momentum around this league. That's what we know. That's what we know so far. How you feel?
I still don't know how I feel.
That's fair. There's a lot we still don't know, and they're kind of waiting because it's a year out. I guess they're not wanting to spill it all now. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I just no, I think you explained that like incredibly well. I'm still just like other than the money, right? Like the rumored salary. And don't get me wrong, if I was playing and they call me, I'd be like, "Yep, sign me up."
Yes, I mean, I think that's what everyone's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I'm still trying to, like, wrap my head around just what does this look like? And I know
Mhm.
you just said you get points, and at the end there'll be a team winner, and then, like, is there a bonus? Like, I don't know. I'm just curious. I'm curious to see how this will work.
Mhm.
Um, I'm sure the WNBA is like, damn, we got another league that we need to worry about.
Yes.
We thought it was just Unrival, and now here we go with this Project B thing.
Yeah.
Um, I think what has been very interesting to me though, like when NECA was the first player signed, I was like, okay, what is this thing? Let me go check it out.
For sure.
And then as I see other players that have committed to play and they've signed, I'm just like, interesting. That's
It
that's how I felt with the release of some of the players. I'm curious to see what other players
Mhm.
will sign to play in this league. And so here's a question I have for you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Cuz I think I read somewhere that I don't know, are they playing in like Abu Dhabi?
Yeah,
Um
okay, so that's a good thing to bring up. So,
yeah.
Saudi Arabia has been attached to this because it was rumored or falsely reported, because Alana Beard, again, on the Good Game podcast, said it
Mhm.
straight, that they are not receiving any Saudi money
Right?
for
Right?
this, because I think that was a huge a thing against it,
Yep.
was that, we've seen that in other leagues. We've seen that in golf, and how it's just like, we're going to throw a bunch of money at these players, and we're just going to take them away from their typical things in the States. But that's not the case here. She said that there is a company that they have hired to put on the events in each city, and that company has some ties to Saudi, but there is no Saudi money going directly to the players. I guess that's what
Hmm.
she set the record straight on. She said it was very interesting that that's what people kind of cling to, and that's what people have been running with. But that's been the biggest knock against them so far. And when you realize that that's not even a real thing, now you have to really figure out if you like it or want to agree with it or want to root for it for what it is. Yeah.
Mm.
I will
So,
say this. I have a question for you,
mhm.
because I actually didn't think that this necessarily rivaled the W. I think that it could be in long term, if it turns out to be true, and there people are getting, every player is getting 2 million.
Mhm.
This is what it's working out. Then yeah, I'll take the summer off and not play in the W. I'll just do this.
Mhm.
But the last couple years, there have been more push to play basketball in the States, because players didn't want to have to go play overseas. They didn't want to have to do the international part of an off season. So I think it's very interesting that that is like their whole model, is like, we want to take the game global. We want global superstars. We want it to be around the world. When you have things like Unrivaled and Athletes Unlimited saying, stay home. It's good that you don't have to go around the world. You don't have to be global. So I feel like those things are contradicting each other. And I don't know I guess my question is, which way do you think players most likely would turn to? Okay, global. Okay, yeah, I got to go back overseas, or no, I'm good. I'll just stay home and stay in Miami.
Well, so here that's a good question. So here's I also think it's a difference in this model, right? Because it's not like you're just going to be in one country for 8 months.
Okay, yeah.
You're traveling to different countries, and I don't know all the countries or cities, but I think that makes a difference. But I'm also going to say this. When I look at the list of players that have signed so far, a lot of these players on this list, to my knowledge, I could be wrong, um, they don't really have a lot of, like, endorsement deals,
Mm.
and there's a reason why I'm bringing that up, because I think for a lot for the players who like the Asia Wilsons, the Caitlin Clarks, the Angel Reeses,
Mhm.
the Sabrina Ionescu, and I know they're gonna announce more players, and maybe those could be some of the players.
Mhm.
Those players are making an amazing, incredible living off the court
Mhm.
with their endorsements. And I do think it helps that they're playing here in the W, right? Because the game is growing, the league is growing, brands are watching, people are paying attention. They're like, "Oh, I want her. I need her. I need her. I need her." And
Yeah.
so when you have them playing here in the States and they're playing in the W and all these eyes are on them, it just opens up more doors for more opportunity. Not to say that those players wouldn't or couldn't play in Project B, but I think that makes a big difference. And so for the players that I see that have decided to play in Project B right now, I think for them it's about, yes, it's basketball, but they see an opportunity to go and make some money, Jordan, that they may never make playing in the WNBA.
Mhm.
So why wouldn't you do it? And a great example, Nneka Agumake is still balling at whatever age she is, but she's still balling. But
Mhm.
yes, Nneka, go get your bag.
For
So if
sure.
you have somebody that's saying, Nneka, we want you and we're going to pay you $2 million, hell, I don't care. We're going to pay you $1 million. Why wouldn't you take that
Yeah.
opportunity to go and make some money and put yourself in a really, really, really good situation financially?
Mhm. And honestly, when I saw NECA be the first person to sign up, I think that was beautifully, a great strategy to have her name attached first
Oh, for
because
sure.
I trust NECA. So I was like, "Oh, if NECA's doing it, then that means it is legit or she
That
vetted
was
it,"
my first thought. My
That
first thought was, "Oh, I don't even know what this is, but it's legit because NECA's a part of it."
and that
Right?
is what they wanted people to think. And I
I
immediately thought that.
I do question or wonder. We know we gotta get through this whole CBA negotiations, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
figure all that out. But I do wonder if there will come a point in time, depending on how this Project B thing works and where we end up with CBA negotiations, if players will be left to make a choice,
mhm.
right? Nah, I'm good. I'm going to take my summers off because
Yeah.
who doesn't want to take summers off? And I know I can go play in Project B 6, 7 months out of the year and make more money doing that than I'm going to make in the W. That is the part where I'm like, this could get very, very, very interesting. And then, you know what also gives this credibility? I don't care where the money's coming from, Saudi, whoever, I don't care. I know Elena said it's not. But what gives it credibility to me, besides NECA signing and the other players, that Elena Beard is chief basketball officer.
For sure. Yeah. She's legit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I took comfort in her saying in that interview that she spent 15 years in the WNBA. She owes everything to the W. She does not want to dismantle the WNBA. Like she wants it to work together. But at the same time, I hear her saying that, and I know she's not coming in saying we're the new WNBA. But at the same time, like you said, players are going to have to make that choice because
Mhm.
when I see that it's going from November to April, and even if they keep it how it is, training camp is in April. So now you are playing every single, every month is accounted for your W if you are a top WNBA player, even if you are NECA. You go from November 2026 to April 2027. Training camp starts mid-April. Then if you're lucky and you're going to the playoffs, you are going until October,
Yeah.
November. Then you start again, Project B season 2. What? That sounds
But excuse
insane.
me, but that's the way it currently is. But
True.
if the league gets what they want in the CBA and starts the season in March,
Right.
how does that work with Project B in the WNBA?
It doesn't, because that's what that prioritization rule is. So what it's in the current CBA is that you have to prioritize the WNBA. That's what it's there for. So you have to report to training camp and you cannot be playing anything else. And so
So that's
Athletes
not an
Unlimited,
excused absence.
that is not an excuse absence. No. Your letter from Project B, your note excusing you would be denied. It would be denied. And your salary would be
Wow.
reduced. But that's what, Sheryl, if you're making $2 million with Project B, are
Yeah.
you saying, I don't care, reduce
No.
my salary?
No.
I made up for what I'm gonna miss in
Mhm.
that month. Whoo! It's a
And
lot.
you're probably, I don't know, you're probably getting some type of bonus playing in Project B if you win it all, or,
Yeah.
Whoo,
I
child, can I come out of retirement? Just sign me up for 1 year. Let me go do Project B for 1 year.
do
Jeez.
it.
Girl, bye. I'm going to work out.
Hey, you
I'm
could
going to
just
work out.
just be in the short corner. Just say, I'm
Let me
here,
go back old school. I'm gonna play one end. I'm gonna
one
play the
in.
offensive end in the corner. Give me the rock.
Here. You could
I
just be hitting bank
ain't,
shots.
that's
Just
it.
the bank
That's
shots.
it. I ain't running up and down. I ain't playing no defense. Nope.
I think you might get a
Wow.
couple people out of
Wow.
retirement. I think that, I mean, that would be
Girl.
exciting. I think there's going to be tiers. This is my thought, my last thought. I think there's
Mhm.
going to be a certain type of player that's going to do Project B. And I think you are spot on. These are top talent, but maybe don't have the same endorsement deals, the same freedom to pick up a commercial here or there,
Mhm.
that can do this. And then there's another type of top talent that is doing Unrivaled that maybe doesn't want to deal with the overseas part. They
Yeah.
just want to
Yeah.
stay in Miami. And they also just want to kind of do it part-time. Like Sabrina was at Unrivaled last season, but wasn't really there the whole time because she was out
No.
promoting her new shoe. You know, like
Yes.
it's a way to jump in. And then there's a group that's in Athletes Unlimited that is, maybe fresh off a rookie contract, or
Yep.
like still not wanting to go play overseas. Maybe you already played overseas from October to
Yep.
February. Now here's another way to just get your confidence up with WNBA level talent. And then you're going to play in Athletes Unlimited. I love that players have options and that the only option is not Russia or China or Turkey.
Agreed.
You
Agreed.
have options. And I love that.
And
I
they're
think
really, really good options.
really good options that have money attached to it. So I love
Mhm.
that for the players. But
Mhm.
like you said, we are going to come to a head at some point where, a quick little hoop root segment, Diana Taurasi was paid a lot of money to
Oh,
sit
paid,
out
paid. Yep.
the WNBA season in the early 2000s. They
Yep.
said, we don't want you to get hurt in the WNBA so you can come back overseas and win us another championship. So we're going to pay you more than your WNBA salary to sit out. And
Yep.
that is something that the WNBA has always been fearful of. And I think that this is one of those things that could rival that. So
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. I'm curious to see what happens with the whole CBA situation, but I'm
that would
also
be,
curious to
yeah,
see what happens with Project B.
we, man.
It's a good problem to have. We got options.
We got
We got
options. We
options.
got options. I love it. Okay. Project B, we still have questions, but we learned a lot. Hopefully you did too. I got a lot of messages about asking us to break down what's going on in Project B. So hopefully that did have a little bit of a breakdown. We're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we have some quick hitters of news that I want Sheryl's thoughts on. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Women's Hoop Show. We're still talking women's hoops. The thing that happened in the end of November was the draft lottery. And first of all, can I just say that every year when they have like the representatives of the team, and Chicago last year, it was Angel Reese, and she looked so great and she was so excited. And they couldn't get one player from Chicago to represent their team. They had to have someone in the front office. And I just thought that was really funny.
That speaks very loudly, is what I see.
Speaks volumes. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about that. But the Dallas Wings and Maddie Siegrist being Dallas's good luck charm, because the times that she's gone, they have gotten the number 1 pick back to back. What was your reaction? Because it was almost Minnesota, which would have been insanity.
My reaction? It's rigged.
Oh no.
No, I'm just playing. I'm just saying what people are thinking. Honestly, my reaction was Dallas is going to get a good one to go along with some of the good pieces they have, but in particular with Paige Beckers. Like, if I'm a player in this league today, if I'm a vet that's like, okay, I want to explore my free agency. I want to look at some other places to go play. There are a few players or teams that I'm like, I would really like to go here and play. And Dallas is one of them. First of all, Dallas is a great city.
It is.
And Paige Beckers, like, Paige is the real deal. I'm gonna say something else, but Paige is the real deal. So I was like, dang, with this number 1 pick, there's so much they can do with it.
Yeah.
I know we haven't gotten into it, but since I'm there, I'm just gonna go there. Because I heard someone say, oh my God, Paige and AZ will be reunited. Like, don't we love that? As a basketball fan, of course. I would love that. AZ Fudd is not what Dallas needs.
Explain more.
She's not what they need.
I am in the camp that believes before Dallas was the number 1 pick, I feel like AZ Fudd is WNBA ready. Like a shooter, put a shooter on any team, any WNBA team, she is going to make them better. I know that may not be what Dallas needs, but
I did not say she doesn't make Dallas better. She makes every team better.
Yeah.
But if you're Dallas,
I think
and
that
you're
Arike,
like, okay, wait. You think Arike what? Wants out of Dallas? Go ahead, say it, Jordan.
I mean, I think she might test free agency. At 80% of the league,
I do too.
It's free agency.
Yeah, I do too.
So hard to even talk about teams next year because you don't know who's going to be on the team. But I think you need to know Kurt Miller. You need to know if Arike is going to be on that team before, because I think that is the difference. I don't think there's space for AZ and an Arike on the squad. But if Arike leaves, then AZ could fill that spot. Then you could get a big in free agency because there is a lot of bigs out there. That's my thought.
I like that thought. I like that thought a lot. And if I'm Arike, I'm gonna explore free agency. Why not? I just, what I think is Dallas needs an experienced vet at the 4/5 position. So when I look at teams, because my mindset is always, what do we need to compete for a championship, right? And then I think about the other teams that have been there. So my mindset goes to, how do we beat the Aces? Well, you got to have somebody that can do 2 things. guard Asia Wilson, and also score on Asia Wilson.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when I say a vet with experience, that's what I'm talking about. And in Dallas's case, I'm like a 4 or 5. Listen, if they draft AZ Fudd at number 1, do they trade her for a vet? There's so much there you could you could get into. AZ
Mhm.
Fudd immediately makes Dallas better, yes. But I don't think AZ Fudd puts Dallas in the position to to compete for a championship.
I think we are both saying the same thing. An experienced 4 or 5 is not gonna come from the draft. You gotta get
No.
that from free agency. So who do you draft? AZ Fudd.
Well, listen, you draft AZ Fudd because the phone's gonna be ringing and people are gonna be like, okay,
Yeah, or
will
just
you
that number 1 pick.
will you
Yeah.
trade that number 1 pick
Yeah,
for so
right.
and so and
Okay.
so and so? And if you're
Got it.
Kurt Miller, you're like, oh, do I entertain this? Because you
Mhm.
know Paige is like, yeah, we're going to draft my boo.
And you want your superstar to be happy.
Of
So
course.
you might wanna
Of
draft her
course.
girlfriend
Well,
to
but
keep
listen,
her.
here's the thing I know about Paige Beckers. Yep, that's her boo. But Paige is trying to go win
She's
a
trying to
chip.
win. Yeah.
So in her
Yeah.
mind, if she thinks that by drafting AZ will allow them to possibly trade her and go get her some immediate veteran help,
Mhm.
I would think she would be all for that. Because here's the other thing. So then it's like, okay, like I've seen so many different mock drafts where it's
Mhm.
Lauren Betts is going 1 or AZ Fudd's going 1. I like
Mhm.
Lauren Betts' upside.
Mhm.
Lauren Betts doesn't make Dallas a championship contender immediately.
No.
Dallas needs some vets on their team, right? I love Matt. I think Maddie is a great player in this league. I think she's going to be a really good player in this league. But when I look at Dallas, even like the guards they had this year, I didn't think Arike had the type of season that we thought she would have playing
No.
alongside Paige. I like Isaiah James. Um, I just when I look at Dallas though, I'm like, y'all need some bigs. Y'all need some presence in the paint. A
Yeah.
4
You
or 5. You need
yeah.
that.
Yeah. They had
You
Melissa
had
Smith.
T and well, and you had Tierra McCowan, and I'm like,
Yes.
"What are you doing?"
I Dallas has had bigs and they have fumbled them in the past. That's what's also just made me just a little unsure. They have had bigs before. You had Tierra McCowan, and that's why I also think it was something else. We clocked that early in the season. We're like, Tierra McCowan just doesn't seem like she's in it. And we also have to have a huge asterisk over last season because of the coach that they had. And now it feels like it is Groundhog Day that we have the number
Girl.
1 pick again and a new coach again for Dallas. And I'm sorry to say, it could go the exact same way. It could.
Facts,
So
facts.
hopefully it doesn't.
Oh, yes, it
But
could.
I think that you have to be what we say all the time. You have to be a desirable free agency location. I think Paige Beckers, the player she is, the person she is doing a lot of heavy lifting on that part. I don't think people are running to Dallas for the organization or for what they've done in the past and how they have treated players and traded away players
Mhm,
in the
mhm,
past.
mhm.
So I think that's going to be something that is interesting. Do you just get this big in the draft because you don't think a free agent would land there? Do you trade that number 1 pick because you can try to get something and get better now? There is a lot that needs to be decided because don't waste Paige Beckers anymore. Last year was a waste and we all were mad, even if you're not a Wings fan. So she is a top tier talent. You need to build around her immediately. Now, that's what I'll
Mic
say on that.
drop.
Or
No, it's
we
good.
shall see. We shall
Now
see.
if they draft AZ and keep her, I will be ecstatic.
I would
I'm a
be
huge
too.
AZ Fudd fan. I love AZ. I'd love to see AZ and Paige play together, but I also wouldn't mind seeing them play against each other.
I
Like, that's just
know.
me. That's just
I
me.
know. And I know they don't care because I mean, yes, would it be amazing? And were we rooting for this last year with Melissa Smith
Melissa
and
and
Dejanay Carrington? Then they got traded away and then they only played like a few seconds together. So
oh my god, yeah. Hmm.
it's again, it is what it is. And Kurt Miller has said that we're gonna do what's best for the franchise, which is purposely not specific. I know he wasn't going to trade away that number one pick last year, but this is a really good draft. And there are some teams that don't have any draft picks or aren't in that lottery slot that might be interested in a trade. So, but we got to know who's on each team first. So we need free agency to happen. So we know what to trade and
Yeah.
who to trade.
Yeah.
Can't even
Facts.
talk about that now.
Facts.
Oh man. Okay, couple quick things that just wanted to go over before we wrap up. The New York Liberty have a new coach. They hired Chris DeMarco, who was a longtime assistant for the Golden State Warriors. This there were so many names, so many former players thrown in the hat. So just a lot of different names were tossed around, but this is the coach that they went with. Sabrina seems to be very happy with this choice. I saw her front row at the Warriors game, talking with Chris, talking to Steph, asked Steph about him, has that connection there. So again, it's a man we don't know much about. That's another head coach. So we'll see how that goes. Any thoughts there? Look so angry.
I'm not angry. I'm confused isn't the word either. Disappointed maybe.
Mm,
And not just with New York. I just I'm gonna be very real with you.
please.
Okay? As a black woman in this world, and as a black woman who played in the WNBA for years, as a black woman who was the first player to sign, this is how I feel. The WNBA is, what would you say the percentage is? I'm going to say 90% black.
I know.
I don't know.
80, 70
Okay.
is up there. It's up
I'll
there.
say
Yeah.
88. It's 80% black.
Yeah.
I also am very well aware that we have quite a few, maybe not quite a few, but we have some. I can't think of all of them off the top of my head, but we have some black women as assistant coaches in the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
So my feeling is, as a black woman, we're good enough to play the game. We're good
Mm,
enough to win championships for you. We're good enough to be assistant coaches for you, but we're not good enough to lead an organization, to lead a team. And the reason
mm,
why I say that is, yes, I know Noelle Quinn was a head coach for Seattle. Am I surprised that they let her go? No. And I will also tell you, I love Noelle Quinn, but obviously Seattle had issues with her as a head coach. So it's
mm-hmm.
time to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know Christy Tolliver deserves an opportunity.
Absolutely.
I believe Breon January deserves an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when I see things like this, I don't know this coach at all. So this isn't about him, right? But it's more so about what more do we as black women
Mm-hmm.
need to do and have to do to prove that we're good enough to sit in that seat. Teresa Weatherspoon got one shot in Chicago. One, not even a full year. She got one shot and no one will give her another opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't even about her being a former player. But when I sit here and I look at where this game is going, my first thought is, "Oh, now that y'all are paying attention, now you wanna come and be a part of something that has always been great and is
Mm-hmm.
amazing, but now you see the growth, you see the movement, you hear people talking about it, everybody wants a piece of it, and so now all of a sudden, we're getting all of these coaches from the NBA or even from college, but they all happen to be men who are now coming to the WNBA getting the head coaching jobs.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. I don't like it. No one really cares if I like it or not, but you ask me. So I think we deserve an opportunity. That's all I'm
Opportunity.
saying.
That is the key word. That is what I always talk about. Opportunity. Opportunity to show how great you could be, but also an opportunity to mess up. Like it could go either way,
And you
but
know
it
what? It
feels
should
like
be okay. It should be okay for
it
us to be given
should
an
be
opportunity and
okay
mess up
because you
because
you
no one's
have the
perfect
opportunity.
and
Uh,
everybody messes up. I don't care who you are.
yes. I feel like just in life, if you are a white man, you get an opportunity to fail a lot more. And
And
that's
fail and fail and fail and fail again.
not fair.
I know,
Yeah.
and I don't care, cut it out. As a white man, you get an opportunity to fail and freaking be the president of the United States of America. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
But anyway,
But
God.
I had to say it.
Yeah,
But
not fair.
I'm just saying, it is. That's the world we live in, Jordan.
Mhm. Boo.
And it's not me wishing and hoping that he fails. That's not it.
No.
But he's at least in a position where he has an opportunity to succeed or to fail.
Yeah. I think that there is a really great article in The Athletic that was published last year because, we had a huge conversation about all the coaching hires and all the vacancies after last season, which it's been just the most hiring and firing, I feel like, over a 2-season course in a very long time. So a lot of turnover. And Sabrina Merchant and Ben Pickman wrote a story talking about the journey of what a WNBA coach most likely is. And I implore you to go look up that story. Won't get into much of it now, but essentially saying that the path to a WNBA coach is a lot harder because of the limited contract, the not guaranteed contract,
Hmm.
and then not the space to allow former players to kind of stay in the ranks of assistants for a really long time to get that experience. Because you know what I love? Oh, we would love for you to have this job, but you don't have the experience. Oh, can I have the experience? No, there's not
Yes.
any room for you to have experience. So
Yes.
there's not a pipeline to get to a WNBA head coach. Majority of coaches come from mid majors, like we saw from Carl Smesco from Atlanta, coming from Florida Gulf Coast, or even Jose Fernandez, who's the new coach of the Dallas Wings. They're not going to come from the Don Staleys because they are making millions of dollars at a
Hello.
top college program. Would
Yes.
not make sense for them to get rid of that contract and only coach for the summer. So there's that part. Then there is NBA coaches who are making, 6 figures who
Yeah.
say, I'm not taking a pay cut to come to the W. So, all right, we're going to raise that. Becky Hammon getting $1 million. A new head coach for the Phoenix Mercury got over $1 million. So now that isn't
Mhm.
the teetering anymore. We're going to pay you more to be a coach in the WNBA. There aren't a lot of things to pull from. Whereas a former player saying they want to be a head coach and you have to be an assistant for a long time. Sheryl Reeve
Mhm.
talked about how she was an assistant for 9 seasons, I believe it was, before she could come in and be a head coach. at the beginning, Sheryl, there were a lot of people from the NBA, just NBA players coming in with no coaching experience to just coach in the WNBA. That was a thing at the beginning. Then we went away from it, and now it feels like we're going back to very
Oh, we're
NBA
definitely going back. But to
focused
your point, here's the thing. People
coaching.
will say all the time, "Oh, I'd like to hire you, but you don't have the experience." Well, listen, how do I ever get that experience if no one will hire me to get the experience?
I hate that.
Well, my thing is like, give me another line, right? I would
Yeah,
much
yeah.
rather you say to me, I don't want to hire you because you're a woman, or I don't want to hire you because you're a black woman. But
Mhm,
don't keep telling me you don't have the experience. Because if no one's ever going to hire me, I don't mean me specifically, I'm just saying in general, if no one's ever going to hire you so that you can start getting that experience, how do you ever get the experience?
you know.
And so, as a former player, I would say, well, maybe I don't have the coaching experience, but I have the playing experience. I
Mhm.
played for
That
20
could count.
years.
That has to
I'm
count.
saying that. So, you're telling me playing for 20 years as a professional athlete doesn't count for anything?
Yeah, yeah. Well, they can't tell you they can't hire you because you're a woman or a black woman, because that's illegal. So they don't wanna go
Yeah.
to
A
prison
lot
for
of things
that.
that are illegal that don't really matter anymore. But anyway.
I know, I'm just joking.
No, but you're right.
Um,
No, I get it.
we'll
I get
see.
what you're
Yeah.
saying. It's just so it's when I sit and I think about it and I look at all the stuff that's going on around the league, I'm just like, wow. It's as excited as I am about the growth of it, right? It's very disappointing
Mhm,
with the lack of opportunity that we're given.
mhm. Oh, totally. Whew. Well,
I got on my soapbox there for a second. Sorry.
I love being in the audience when you are on your soapbox. It is a great time, and it's a valid thing to get on your soapbox about. Um, we have to wrap, but I know that there's so many things going on in this off season. We're going to try to keep you informed and everything. We're going to come back with when Unrivaled is back on and going weekly. I'm really excited for Unrivaled this season. I'm excited for a year 2. Because the
Yeah.
first year you got to work out some kinks, but year 2, I think they're going to iron everything out. It's going to be super exciting and fun. But I know y'all ain't bored this off season. It is a lot
A lot
happening.
going on.
College basketball is also really great. We didn't even touch on that. So it's been fun. It's always fun talking hoops with you, Sheryl Swoopes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Right back at you. I missed you, boo.
I missed you too. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an update. Your support means the world. And if you're feeling generous, leaving a quick rating or review helps more Hoops fans discover the show. And you can now see us on our brand new YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe there. Shoot us an email at women'shoops@odyssey.com to tell us what's on your mind. We want to hear your hottest takes, your burning questions, and all your feelings about all things women's hoops. We just might feature your note on the show. That's women'shoops@odyssey.com. The Women's Hoop Show is an Odyssey original podcast hosted by me, Jordan Robinson. Today, our co-host was Sheryl Swoopes. Our producer is Phil Sweetek. Our video team is led by Kurt Courtney and includes Tim Meikle, Evan Cox, Allison Jeffrey, and Lauren Vieira. Our executive producers are Greg Holtzman, Asha Saluja, Danny Freisinger, Maddie Sprunkheiser, and Leah Reese-Dennis. And special thanks to Moira Curran and Josephina Francis.